forth blue side has been favoring. Let's see how this is going to turn out as Afreeca move back over.
Confirmation that Score, of course, will retain his position after the victory. I think it's going to be a little while till the Rush fans are sated with their homeboy returning into the lineup.
Kind boy.
Kind boy is, of course, his official nickname. As
also, you saying homeboy just sounds weird.
It's been a weird night, Achilles. It is 8:06 p.m. Korean Standard Time.
How do you do, fellow kids?
And SKT fans will be joining, ready to watch their series. Sorry, we're one best of one away from actually seeing that particular match. SKT versus Rocks, the 2016 special, will not be on until after this particular programming. As on the blue side, Rise the first ban, sticking with the Callisto ban on red side. Let's see if KT put a wrinkle in, though, because we've had that same mid lane matchup a couple of times. Let's see what comes of the draft here, because so far blue side has got the riches, I think, in both games.
Does appear to be that way. Dogmaul, Rise, Ezreal, Callisto. Not much changing on the red side there. I think that we're just going to be seeing that stick through overall as we move through the games here at the beginning of the spring split. Did see Ezreal yesterday, but overall, it's been pretty shut out.
Definitely a favorite of both Deft and Kramer, so the 80 carry pull already significantly hit. What do we see? Mid lane bans apart from the Rise. Waiting to see. Look at this. Okay, we're getting interesting. On the blue side, Braum is banned, so Tom Kent's first pick looking like it's going to be forced, but that, of course, will unseat something like a Gangplank for KT to pick up again, so priority here of something like Gangplank and Tom Kent is going to be fun to catch, even for a ban, and yes, Sejuani has to be banned. People don't want to deal with that. At the moment, the one tank jungler that really gets a lot of respect is the Sejuani, and now it's a choice. Do you want to go for the Gangplank, or do you want to go for the Tom Kent? Because I don't think you're getting both.
Well, it seems like Afreeca might be trying their hand at this one. This fit the wheelhouse of Keen's Champ Bull, so they will go ahead and lock this one in. So take it away from Smeb. Do they want to just immediately answer with something like the Gnar is the question?
I think Tom Kent needs to be taken in this rotation, but as you say, the Gnar would be an obvious one. We'll see what Smeb wants to do, because Smeb does have the lead, at least on paper, in terms of teleports, right? He's one of the best teleport players in the world, so he has a lot of options. He can go for the Gnar, and you're expecting those big Gnar ultimates coming. You're expecting the big teleport flanks. Could also have something crazy to show. Could be the Vladimir that was attempted yesterday and is known to be a good pick into the Gangplank. So now that we don't have Smeb on GP, these questions do remain. Score going to go back onto the Kha'Zix. Didn't serve him so well in game one, you have to remember, but tier list-wise, KT definitely taking the strongest two picks available for them and skipping out on the Azir for now.
I mean, so far the Kha'Zix hasn't really favored anybody. Spirit was also not able to pick up the win.
I wonder how solo queue we go with some of the counter picks, because we've seen the Lucian, we've seen the Vladimir. Riven can't be too far away, Achilles.
Is it time for Dongjun?
I'd love to see some Ignite Riven against this Gangplank. That would be something. Spellbook, it could happen. If Lucian is happening, Riven can't be too far behind. Yep.
Please, Smeb.
One of our Korean casters, Kim Dongjun, famously did pose as Pool Party Taric in the official Riot cinematic here in Korea, due to his likeness with the new Splash character. And Taric Varus, oh boy.
Okay.
It's not quite the Braum Varus.
Do you like
pretty
lockdown?
Much the same thought. Yes, exactly. Lockdown aplenty.
Plus heals. And a massive invulnerability for the entire team to enjoy.
If KT don't take Gnar here, it could actually be Karma top also against the
that's one that's made it through, actually, was the Camille.
And Camille been banned quite a lot today. Camille, another matchup into Gangplank. You consider now this will probably be, I think it has to be the top lane Camille, because they already have Kha'Zix and Tom Kench. There's not even a support Camille happening here, so probably going to have to be the top lane Camille. Good matchup into the Gangplank again, but kind of a snowball matchup here. It feels like most Camille matchups can kind of go one way or the other when it comes to how powerful they can get. Really respected pick in Korea, Gangplank. And
yes, of course. The shout out to the one support game that we had from the Camille.
It was Kramer. Not Kramer. It was Tucson.
It was Tucson, yeah.
Yep. So it was Afreeca Freecs who got a victory on that support Camille. So big pick here in Korea recently. Looking at the bans, the top lane now accounted for, waiting for solo lane and 80 carry. That's why you're going to see 80 carry bans towards Deft. Tristana already taken out, so consider this, 480 carries banned and one taken away. So we're starting to get towards the dregs of the champion pool. Every time we get here, Achilles, I'm like, is it Jinx time? Is it Jinx time?
It's time for the Vayne. I mean, the Jinx does make sense for Deft. It would not be that surprised.
I mean, the Vayne is another one that you would say Imp was the more well-known of the Vayne players over on the Samsung organization, the MVP organization way back when, but Def can play a mean Vayne as well. It's Twitch also, I think, very possible here. So we do see an Azir ban. They don't want to double ban 80 carries. They don't want to just give over Azir. So they do at least put stops on another Azir versus a Veigar mid lane matchup, and he's definitely going to consider it, Achilles.
The whole audience just gasped.
Twitch, Vayne, or Jinx are the options here for Deft.
There we go. All right, Vayne's locked in for Deft. That's what I like to see. And another thing to note here, Papa Smithy, is that Zoe is going to be open here for this game. Do we see that picked up for the side of Afreeca?
Pretty good at killing Vayne.
Yeah, you know, turns out that burst damage would be quite significant. And there's the Shyvana.
We've seen
that has
Shyvana
really risen in power lately.
We've seen Shyvana bans. I'll leave a little bit more options here. They're waiting for their jungle. It's going to go for Malzahar. Right-click on somebody.
Resident Sleeper, man.
Can't have everything every time, Achilles. We're trying here in the LCK, but Shyvana's a possibility. Looking at the strength of the lanes, I guess it's counter pick for mid lane here. Malzahar does well in most matchups, and Gangplank being a skill matchup. There's a degree of risk here to Shyvana. If you have winning lanes with Shyvana, you win all the time. It is still going to be the Shyvana that I'll discuss how the new runes have really pushed Shyvana over the top in terms of power. But we'll hold that for the actual game, waiting to see what the pick into Malzahar is going to be. No Azir. Could consider the Rise, even though it's a bit of a self-counter pick. This is the kind of pawn special. You remember there were a lot of games where he was kind of screw it Karma in situations where he wasn't 100% sure where to go, and it's going to be the Karma for more shielding and speed-ups for Deft to be the hyper carry here.
All right. Let's move to the drafts. Finished out here, so a couple changes come through. GP flipped over to the Afreeca Freecs. Vayne, the big one for me, there for Deft. Has the Tom Kench to back her up. Make sure that she doesn't get into any sticky situations, can just get the bail out there with the Devour. Hyper aggressive from the side of KT with that Camille and that Vayne and the Kha'Zix.
People will wonder why not Zoe. Zoe's available here, and you could just play defensive and try and kill Mouse. Obviously not the easiest with his passive, but more importantly, consider all the picks kind of in unison. Super lockdown, global, slow. There's so many different ways to gap close and kill a Zoe that the amount of risk for the Zoe pick isn't really worth it. They've already got super damage out of top and especially the Vayne, so something that can have that little speed up, just get out of sticky situations in the mid lane, be safe with shields, and then buff up the carries, including Kha'Zix here. No Galio in the meta right now. It's around the Galio-Kha'Zix combination that KT loved, but the Karma, a different way of adding a bit of tankiness to the team. They don't opt in for the Zoe. They go for something a little bit more boring when it comes to the 1v1, but there's so much fun. There's so much action going on in terms of these picks. It's going to be a really fun one to watch.
I mean, this is the game where I think I don't want to watch the mid lane. I think we've kind of moved away from the bot lane being the boring aspect. Now that we have this Vayne coming through with the Tom Kench there for KT, I think it's more the mid lane where it's like, okay, you know what? He's gonna throw out his silence. There's gonna be a bubble on the Karma. She's gonna eat up all the damage, and then nothing's gonna happen till level 6.
Time though, Achilles.
I think that's about where we are. But yes, here we go, guys. Game number 3 of Afreeca versus KT. Let's see who's gonna take home the victory. KT fans being bolstered. You see that jump forward with a hook shot there. Getting stunned up.
This man was a little bit too excited there. If he was able to close the distance before, allow his team to back him up. Stun at level 1 is really powerful. Go for the hook shot. Now he has to lane with the hook shot, which is not ideal.
Having the tactical sweep could hurt quite a bit at the start.
So I can tell you the keystone, Miss Spirit, without looking at it or cheating. It's going to be press the attack, which is the big reason that Shyvana come back into the meta. There it is. Look at me. So clever with the Shyvana. Press the attack. The reason why we see it on her and almost no one else. You know, Vayne, for example, people thought that would be a press the attack champion. Definitely not. In fact, Klepto Vayne. That's a new one. Obviously,
okay.
Tumble Auto is going to be a way to proc it, but that's a surprise.
That's definitely not what I was expecting.
So the reason why Shyvana and no one else takes press the attack is that Shyvana instantly procs it. Auto Q is 3 auto attacks because the Q counts as 2. And then from there, then you press the burnout. Then you use the challenging smite. And you get basically a guarantee that if you hit the auto Q, you're going to get the extra damage, the 12% extra damage on all of your rotations. So that's what puts her over the top, is that she uses press the attack better than any other champion in the game because she reliably procs it in an instant.
Oh, Smeb. Feeling a bit spicy there. Going aggressive here onto Keen yet again. Only has one minion and he's still just trying to trade. Get that kill there in the top lane.
Only watched international events and just sparingly Smeb. You might wonder why he's gotten so much respect from himself and other analysts previously, because he hasn't always had the big times on the international stage. You think of one big cannon ultimate at the last Worlds in 2016, and apart from that was on Trundle duty that time, didn't make it this year. It's the fact that no one I've seen is better at, 2 games just playing Gangplank and be like, well, okay, this is fine, I'm kind of losing some CS, but whatever. And then instantly can be like, okay, now I'm actually the aggressor. I'm going to play the lane perfectly from ahead. You already hit the first stun. Look for another one here.
Yep, the hook shot. Closes the distance with the flash. Tries to lock up Keen. Flash forward coming through. Score chasing in. One more hit will do it. That's first blood going over to KT. Just 3 minutes about into this game.
Beautiful.
Really well done.
He knows his limits. He knows his ranges. There's been so many times he's sidestepped the last auto, outplayed a gank. This time working with a gank. He knew if he flashed in, didn't matter whatever Gangplank could do, he would die. Excellently played by Smeb in the top side. And we said, what's Keen look like when he falls behind? What's Keen look like when he doesn't have counterpick? We're going to get some evidence over the course of this game.
See how things are going to turn out. Kuro in the meantime being brought under quite a lot of pain. 13 CS of 22 at the moment. Pawn is just keeping him low on the HP and the mana. You can see he's forcing out that back. He's got the spell book, so he could swap off. Eventually go for something like the teleport to be a bit more reactive to try to match Pawn with the roams. We'll see that TP coming through now.
Minion dematerializer as well to try and help the Malzahar push in the early game before he has enough points in his queue. Talked to a couple of players in Korea because we saw a lot of Minion dematerializer yesterday. A little bit less today, but still more common than you expect, because a lot of people looked at that rune and said, looks pretty junk, it's like just situational, can't use it on the first wave to get level 2 because it has a lockout for the first 2.5 minutes. But the big story is that if you think about back timers, and if you ever watch pro streams, they always talk about you have to back on a cannon wave, for example, because your minion wave is going to push out, it's going to take longer for it to reach your turret, you lose less minions if you push out in a certain wave. It's about things like level 6 power spikes for, say, a Varus Taric, but also just ensuring the best back possible. And that's not normally something we speak a lot about in pro play, but considering we're seeing teleport Sivers trying to abuse back timers, things like Minion dematerializers for someone like Ezreal to try and stay competitive in that scenario are becoming more and more of a factor because they're introducing new ways to influence minion waves, like the ability to just click on a minion, a cannon minion for example, and delete it, which is what this particular rune does.
Be taking things nice and slowly here after that first blood came through for KT. Dazzle not quite going to connect there into that bottom lane, and so far Depp not having too much trouble with that shortened range on the Vayne, still keeping himself a bit further ahead of Kramer here as far as the CS is concerned. The poke is going to be the biggest factor that they have to worry about. Much more sustain there available for the Afreeca Freecs.
And if you think about it, quite little sustain, and that's kind of a measured statement because you're still going to have double relic shield. You're still going to have overheal most likely. Actually, no. I mean, he doesn't have the defensive change. There's no overheal, and there's no fleet footwork. Remember, Klepto is on the screen. We have to trust that is in fact the rune chosen. He actually is a low sustain Vayne. This is doubling down on weak laning phase for Deft. You can tell from the red pot that he has in the inventory that he doesn't have extra healing. He's opting into a horror laning phase against Varus.
I mean, his sustain is going to be the biscuits that he's getting, basically. Biscuits and the health potions that he can net himself from the Kleptomancy. That's just about it. Hook's coming through here. Still has the wave pushing.
Good news. Klepto Vayne coming to a solo queue game near you.
Yep. Enjoy, guys. Might want to avoid solo queue for a little while or just ban Vayne every time.
It's an option. It's pretty good in solo queue. Well, the aggressor is Smeb, as we knew from the earlier kill, and now no flash against hookshot. Means that every time he uses oranges, he has to back away from the minion wave, does Keen. And Score is thinking, yep, want to kill him again. Notice the stopwatch is up now, and there is no stopwatch on the Camille, so I have to be a bit more specific here to KT Rolster.
they want to play this one out. Hook shot coming through. That's going to be the ultimatum thrown down. He's stuck in. Barrel comes through, pops the stopwatch. Does not have the flash, but that's just going to be Smeb and Score backing off.
So the frustration for junglers now is, if you think about it, you remember when we started talking about competitive play. I may have to hold the point. We'll see if actually we're going to see an overextension. We won't. If you remember the start of competitive play, a successful gank was a kill, and a failed gank was no kill. And then it became, okay, blowing the flash is a successful kill. Is blowing the stopwatch now also a successful gank? So now you have this weird scenario where you have to gank someone twice over the course of the game just to have a 5-minute power window. It's the frustration of the free stopwatches for everybody.
Could be. We'll see how it's going to develop. Yet again, I mean, we're still about as early as you could possibly be into the split, so there's going to be a lot of developments to be had. Tactical sweep coming down there from Smeb, not quite going to clip Spirit, but I don't think they're really going to risk going for a dive. Likely know that Score is still going to be somewhere in the vicinity.
Yeah, it's back timing, and I just wanted to help him push out. Now Game Plank, who's had a tough run of it, a bit of help. Remember that we did not see Smeb getting any help on the Gangplank, whereas Spirit is getting help. Spirit is helping Keen, I should say, sorry, on the Gangplank.
See, I like to think that if I talk about a dive happening, it's more likely to occur. Trying to wheel it into existence.
We've certainly had some curse moments so far today, so certainly possible. You will notice another small adaptation, another synergy was between Press the Attack and the Challenging Smite. Sadly for all you junglers out there, when you do reach the zenith of pro play, which is the LCK, you're not allowed red smite. You got to get the green smite. You got to put down wards, so it's a little bit less damage output than your average solo queue Shyvana.
Unless you're the oldest person on the team.
That's true.
Then you can do whatever you want.
I mean, Score's hung, and he's still going for the Track's knife. So
he's just that nice of a guy.
Keen, laning phase, getting a little bit more comfortable. Flashes back up, stopwatch down, as we already know. Mid lane's been the farm fest, as you said, snooze fest. And have you noticed that Dev's handedly winning the bot lane? That's a strange one. Kleptovane, 16 CS up. Having a whale of a time getting the extra gold from the queue. That's so easy to proc. I imagine that might be a back-timer thing, but not 100% clear on that.
By the way, he's in a very nice spot. So just want to keep that ball rolling. Some of those items that come through where Stain can actually become a threat. Because right now, Poke not going to be doing too much, whereas Kramer, you know, he's got that percentage HP damage to come through from the Corruption stack, so he's going to be much more deadly at the moment in these Poke battles. Whereas Def really needs an extended skirmish in order to excel.
Great.
Comes through, but that's about it.
Consider that, you look at the 3 lanes, KT's obliterating Afreeca in lane CS in all 3 lanes. You almost never see this. KT, of course, very mechanically gifted, but I think through last year, I don't remember games where 3 lanes were winning in CS by over 10, but there's the situation right here. So really big laning phase, not all due to score, not all due to matchups even, given that take Varus Tarek every day of the week over the Vayne Tahm Kench. Things going well, very well for KT, and that's why they've opened up a 1,300 gold lead on top of the first blood that's picked up.
I'll just go ahead and take a look at this mid lane. Burrow's just got minions on minions. Voidlings, rather. Pushing forward here, but Spawn's just going to kill them all. Spawn. Just reading about that, that's probably why it's on my mind. New Spawn movie.
There's also Spawn, the OPL caster as well. Maybe using OPL fame.
That's it.
Definitely not a unknown term in the League of Legends realm. KT starting to push up with gold earliest. Okay, action in mid lane.
It's going to be the tether coming down, Spirit. Going to get rooted, but Crow there to body block the tongue lash. So it seems like it's just going to be a bit of a waddle in there for Mata and a waddle out.
Such as Tahm Kench.
Pretty much.
Free boots of both supports because of the extended laning phase. Top lane.
Yeah. Massive amount of damage coming through there from Smeb. Keen able to trade back a little bit with the parlay, but overall not going to be too much as KT goes ahead and starts up this Infernal Drake. Earliest dragon that we've had so far in the series here at 11 minutes. And will be a wraparound from the bot lane. Juicy and Kramer come through to try to contest this. It's going to go low scores there for the smite. They secure it. That's going to be all that she wrote, KT. Picking up the first objective.
And you keep piling up the reasons for why there is this CS discrepancy outside of matchups. Remember, Shyvana jungle, Kilios. Going to be any real help there as well. The hook shot's down for Smeb.
Barrage is thrown down. He does have the flash. He's going to be canceled out there. Now it's going to be Set coming through. Spirit has to pop the stopwatch. Ultimate there through on the score. Has E going through. He's going to go down. And it looks like that is just going to be a nice little pick off there for the side of Afreeca Freecs. Pawn goes low, but still has the flash, has the shielding available as the Karma, so he's going to be okay. TP back into the top lane there for Keen as he tries to hold his own. But you can see the trading still coming through from Smeb, just keeping him pushed down.
Actually a pretty big misplay there from Score. He completely misread the gank that was happening, went in and just was altered that. He's changed target from what was going to be Pawn originally. Seeing the last time we saw this, the Vayne here, specific match here, Bang versus Prey, which was lost there. We have not seen Vayne in the LCK since spring 2016, around the time you debuted as a LCK caster, Kilios.
That was, yeah, that was quite a long time ago. That actually might have been the week after I started.
There you go. Vayne has been benched for much, much longer than Mr. Kench, so good to see her back. We'll see if it's a momentary thing. Was played in the LPL, will be played at least a little bit this week. With the changes in the support items, less overshields means it might change. Is Spirit looking for his second visit to a lane?
That's going to be clearing out the control ward, though. Can't sneak his way in, so he's going to keep roaming around here. Slow things down 1-1. The score just 400 gold, really separating these two squads as KT has that very slight lead, plus the Infernal Drake on top of it. But at this stage, that extra 80 AP not really going to be netting them a whole lot.
The only lead is the CS that's kind of been afforded by the low presence of a Shyvana jungle. And that low presence starting to go away with 5 points in burnout. Shyvana will win 2v2s here unless massive burst happens before she can be involved in a fight. So something things get tricky. Whenever as a Shyvana team, you're competitive in gold and the Shyvana's been free farming, which we can tell has happened. Shyvana's ability to overtake mid to late game team fights cannot be overstated. Once the Frozen Mallet is in, things crazy in a team fight. As Spirit's here.
He's playing very patiently.
I don't know if he spotted him there. I'm going to assume not.
Oh, well,
nope.
I'm going to say no because he's going in for that hook shot. That's going to be the ultimate coming through. Throws down the ultimatum, flashes out. Pawn is roaming his way up, has the shield to offer up, and now it's going to be the 3v3 as Score also arrives. Tether going to be broken. Pawn can't stick close enough to get that root down. It seems like everybody's just going to go their separate ways.
I was doing my eyes, making sure that when the unsealed spellbook teleports from Mana, but he has gone Guardian this game. He's the one that has to sacrifice after no fleet footwork onto Deft. No one else joining the fray. We all back away.
Will be Mata and Deft, however, roaming over into the mid lane.
Just really worry for Score here. After dying once, gone for the boots of mobility as well. The timer of Kha'Zix having even close to the presence of a Shyvana starting to really tick away, and Shyvana team fights are soon going to be a thing. Shyvana plus the ability to be completely unkillable with the Cosmic Radiance is a thing of the future, so Freak have some real power in the mid game unless KT can stick the landing on what has been a strong early game for them, but only to a point.
They really are going to need Deft to be, fast with his footwork there, with his Vayne. If he can stay alive, go around the outskirts of the fight, he can rip anybody apart on the side of Afreeca. Like you said, the Cosmic Radiance will put a delay on that, but as long as he's not directly under threat, then he is always going to be threatening the lives of the members of the Afreeca Freecs.
The ultimate used by Keen here. Good read on the map. Pawn had just left, and they did not have vision of the topside river. That's control wards for KT, but good top laner sense here for Keen.
Yep. Also not going to allow for really any damage to get through in onto that turret. Smith does have the Sheen, not quite the Infinity Force, but still would have ripped that turret apart very quickly if he can get some alone time with it.
Longer the laning phase, the more farm Shyvana gets, the happier you are if you're the Afreeca Freecs. And looking to extend, and you were kind of alluding to the fact that extending against a Vayne can certainly be a fearsome proposition, but Malzahar, even Shyvana can kind of do a number on a Vayne in a fight just because she's so damn quick. Gangplank barrel out of nowhere does a half health to a Vayne, and then just Cosmic Radiance at the right time, and the damage is negated. There is the chance, of course, that we could see a highlight reel play from Deft, but he definitely has a lot to respect in team fights, and one little mental fade will be his death.
Well, for now, just sitting down there in that bottom lane, still has that CS lead. Just waiting for Mata to rejoin him. Now just sitting back behind the turret, keep himself safe. But overall, you got to say, pretty clean farming phase for him. Has maintained a lead, hasn't gotten picked, hasn't gotten any kills himself, but this is about as good as you could hope for overall for a Vayne.
Oh, it's tremendously better than I could have expected because he didn't even go fleet footwork, and he has a CS advantage. That's outstanding if you're a Vayne player. Potential pain would have been something. They would have known that Klepto was there very, very early, of course, given the inventory full of things. Is nice stopwatch.
Let's have that one. Just going to take a little bit of damage from that hail of arrows. Dazzle coming through, has to flash over to the side. Yep, Afreeca looking for that opening. A heck of a lot of damage in on the deft. Now going to be without that flash, so that much more vulnerable.
To ult flashes, just like Ruler's famous play against Faker in Game 3 of the World Final. Spirit spotted an award, but first brick is on the menu.
Yeah, that's going to be the play that Afreeca are looking for, but Deft and Mata, they're going to call the bluff. They go ahead, they stick around. Dazzle will come through, but everybody else is already peeled back. There's an Infernal Drake that has spawned that they could go for. If they can find the opening here. Missile Voyage coming through. That's going to be Mata and Deft now arriving in the fight. Smeb here above as well. The Cosmic Radiance comes down onto the 4 members of the AFreeca Freecs. Nethergrass coming down, targeting out in onto Smeb, trying to finish him off, but the Devourer is there to keep him alive, and he's going to be able to exit back into the mid lane. Score also going low, but it seems like they're all going to be able to walk out with their lives. Flashes blown on both sides, an exchange of summoner spells. Afreeca maybe having the better of it because they can go for the turret, they can go for the dragon, but KT do live to fight another day.
Yeah, really interesting one. Both teams skirting on respectful potential to either back in or engage. Ult down on Kramer was pretty significant there. He couldn't look for a pick, so both teams skirted around. Afreeca will pick up the Drake. It's worth noting, kind of stolen under the nose of KT. They're going to look for more, but they won't be able to get the turret as pawn instead.
Infernal Drake to Infernal Drake now. Pretty even playing field. Still just only the slightest bit of gold separating these two squads. This is just yet again going to be back and forth. I mean, we might be into this game, Bob, until 9 p.m. when we can get ready to start our second series of the day.
And we take a break and we do it all again. Because
yeah,
that, of course, is what happens here in the LCK. Very excited.
I think it'd be very worrying, though, for SKT if this same scenario played out for them versus the Rocks Tigers.
And I think a lot of people have been quite outspoken about, the roster moves SKT's made. I'm ready for them to come out and remind us of their class. They can still come out and obliterate Rocks, who are expecting to be one of the lowest placed finishers here in the LCK. But first game of the season is always going to be a fun one to look at. SKT Rocks, once top of the table now, should be a comfortable SKT victory. But let's focus on this one. It's been a great series after the hour of false starts we had with our Papa and Achilleos podcast for an hour. So like you say, finally poised. Still a chance for KT in the late game. It's nothing not... We've had a lot of games where it was like, all right, this game gets to 40 minutes and I'm pointing at one team. There's still reasons that I think Afreeca's favor, but there's no guarantees. Some of the options here for KT, and if Smeb just starts solo killing a gangplank, then 4-1 is a real possibility as well. So first objective previously to Afreeca after answering KT's Infernal. Now we see Score trained onto the Rift Herald.
It's going to be soloing this one out. Be able to do so with relative ease. Does have Smeb there to back him up just in case, but oh no, it's actually going to be the Baron spawning. He doesn't have time.
I didn't even look at the timer.
And neither did I.
That was comically late attempt there.
Okay, I just assumed the Score would have enough time because he's Score. He's a very smart jungler. That was a bit foolish.
The Rush fanboys getting louder and louder.
Oh yeah, Rush would have never started that.
He wouldn't have wasted his time. They were Raptors.
He would have seen. He would have known. And he couldn't finish it off.
Well, a bit silly there.
Bible
Score. It's going to be a long season for Rush fanboys, isn't it? Well, that's what happens when you have a superstar on the bench.
I mean, that's the thing that honestly has to be proven. Is he still going to be at that superstar caliber after this long away from competitive play? That's going to be it. I'll hold that thought for another time, though. Nethergrass comes down, and that's going to be Score getting absolutely melted. Goro goes golden, trying to keep himself alive, and Pawn has to flash away as the Shamana goes in for the chase, but now Smeb going in, finds Goro, needs one more hit, but somehow just jukes him back. He just walks to the side. Smeb doesn't react fast enough, and now he goes down. That's 2 picks going over to the AFreeca Freecs. Pawn, like you're going to have to back out of here. 1 barrel. Could just go ahead and set him up for a death as Keen looks to push in. And suddenly, Afreeca now have the lead.
Pawn doesn't have to worry about dying. No Infinity Edge yet on top of the items here for the Gangplank, but that's what we talked about. What do 2v2s and 3v3s look like when the Shyvana has free farmed? And Everyone on the side of Afreeca gave up lane CS for Shyvana to hit her power spikes, and Shyvana there jumped in. They instantly deleted score. Wasn't even a factor. He's gone into the boots of mobility. Didn't really have much to show for him other than that. Too easy for the side of Afreeca and a preview of future fight.
I mean, Leandri's tournament with a Morellonomicon completed here for Kuro. CDR's there, the percentage damage with the Malefic Visions on top of everything else has come through, and I mean, we know this pick potential from the Malzahar, the lockdown there onto the squishy Kazakhs. Moby Boots with a Duskblade, he just falls. That's it.
He dies instantly too, just an auto attack from Shyvana, and Malzahar's one round of burst, so useless in fights around mid lane. So guess what? Don't go near the mid lane. Do other things on the map. You can still turret dive very well, but skirmishes when Shyvana's around. Unless you know she's far, far away, do not opt into that if you're KT.
Yeah.
Speaking of Shyvana,
go pushing in. Nethergrass, it's back up again. The Devour is there from Mata to try to keep him alive, spits him out. But Malefic Visions and that Leandri's still taking away Pawn. In danger. Chain of Corruption comes through. He gets locked down. Depth on his lonesome in the pit. He is going to get chewed apart. Kramer coming up with a kill. Another 2 members dead on the side of KT, and Afreeca Freecs are starting to run away with the game.
And KT's making face checks they cannot afford to. They cannot cash the checks they're doing right now because they don't have vision control around the mid side. Malzahar Shyvana deletes anyone on the side of KT in an instant, Tahm Kench included. Get 2 kills. They're going to consider the Baron here. They have the Voidlings. Yeah, the call is Baron.
Yep. Let's go ahead. Start working their way over here. Mata's on the backside of the pit. Score is there. He's alive. He's healthy for the moment, but jumping into the pit yet again. Pretty much just being suicidal here for him. Devour goes through onto Tucson. He goes low, but the shielding comes down from the Garmin. They keep him alive, but the TPs are coming through. Smeb jumping into the pit, tries to get the stun out, but it's still going to be the smite coming through his spinner and goes ahead and confirms the Baron for the Afreeca Freecs. They will lose out onto Tucson, but that's still 4 members walking away healthy with a Baron buff under their belt. And they still killed Smeb at the same time.
Exactly. Still the objective they wanted. The Malzahar there to interrupt as well. Anyone trying to jump over. Pretty straightforward stuff from Afreeca. Good call. They didn't need to worry about getting the outer mid lane turret or focusing all their time on turrets. Just taking down the Baron so quickly for the Afreeca Freecs. And maybe this will be the day in history where they actually pick up the match win.
Rush would have stolen that Baron. He would have got it.
Shut up, Gilius.
I just know that that's what's going on here. Kramer, he's going to get jumped on. Just have that stopwatch trying to keep himself alive, but it's... oh, wow! I was going to say it's pretty futile, but he actually manages to kill Score at the same time. The damage from that bear is coming through.
I mean, that Def's going to be able to take down the turret as well. Nice trade kill, but kind of a confirmation of the fact that Score really wants that Guardian Angel completed soon, otherwise he's going to die to basically anyone in the Stairfest. Same time, Keen gets the bot lane turret, same time. The Drake goes down as well. Trying to double down and take a second turret, but not many good news stories here for KT.
Yeah, definitely not. Spirit going to go ahead, get that second dragon for them. Mountain Drake coming through. Depth and Mata will be able to finish off the tier 2 in the top lane. 3-2 as far as the turrets are concerned, but still going to be that 3.2k gold lead for the Afreeca Freecs.
Kuro's still interested here. Will be spotted by 2 wards. Wow, okay,
power flash
really
away. Mata does not want to mess around with this Malzahar.
You would have thought he would have known because they had a lane ward. The Gangplank wasn't really in close enough proximity, but safety first here and kind of understandable. A couple more things go the way of Afreeca and it's almost a walkover in this game. They feel massively far ahead. Look at Spirit. He's been able to, on top of the core, just pick up more tankiness. He's now going to be just unbelievably strong in a fight now that he's picked up all these items. He's overloaded 3-0 and 3. The early gold didn't mean enough for KT. They haven't got enough turrets to open up. They're behind in turrets in a game against a Shyvana jungle. It's all falling apart for KT Rolster.
Certainly not looking good here. Girl playing very far forward, has the passive up. Continuously push in, threaten that nether grasp. Score's waiting over the wall, spotted out by Ward there, however, so not as sneaky as he would like to be.
Spirit side laning. So that solo queue, Shyvana is going to win this game himself, damn it.
I mean, really, they need Smeb to just go off on somebody, but with the pressure being applied by the Shyvana and the Paras, we already saw how much burst damage Kramer can do. Even in a 1v3 scenario, killing Score, just not looking good. Hook shot to the side, but he's still going to be locked down. Nethergrass just for good measure, and there you go. Smeb is absolutely deleted off of Summoner's Rift, and soon it's going to be one of the inhibitors looking to suffer the same fate as the Afreeca Freecs just come knocking.
The intelligent draft from Afreeca played oh so well. Going to break the base earlier than expected, 26 minutes into the game.
Much faster than the last 2 games. Inhibitor here in the bottom lane will fall. Smeb still dead for another 20 seconds.
So teleport even when he respawns, so no rush.
Yep.
Just move back. Get out of there. The items, you know, they've powered up for Deft. He's got double Zeal and Infinity Edge. He does oh so much damage, but you can notice that basically anyone kind of puts their hand up for a fight and they get obliterated by Malzahar and friends. So theoretical damage for Vayne, but effective damage? No, no, no.
Really rough spot here for KT and for the fans watching. I mean, the majority of the audience here showing up to support them.
Poor game from Score, should be said, especially in Game 3 here. Understandable they stuck with him after winning in Game 2, but the Kha'Zix has been his downfall. Remember last season, the Kha'Zix was the core. Score's most played was the Kha'Zix, but it was Kha'Zix Gallia almost every time. The Gallia was there to follow up. Doesn't have that sort of bailout, and he's choosing wrong fights, really accelerating his only team's demise. It was that attempted dive on the Gnar in Game 1, and then in Game 3, he's just picked poor skirmishes. So something for them to VOD review. Again, will lead to more people mention the name Rush, and we'll see what sort of change we see from KT Rolster in future series.
You know what I mentioned was, you know, the opportunity that we could see Rush was versus MVP. That just happens to be their game on Saturday.
Why not Game 1, right?
It's the next game after this performance from Score versus MVP, who have did not look good. Why not just say, screw it, play Rush for the first game at least?
You know what? I want to have a counter answer, but I don't. I think that is a very good option for them in their next match, especially in Game 1, right? Just Game 1, and then if all else fails, you can always throw something else. Not going to be any communication issues there, of course. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Wait and see what happens in that particular scenario, but...
So, hey, you guys better watch on Saturday, just in case.
Always appreciate your patronage here in the LCK.
Like I said, especially the MVPs who stuck with us throughout the entire podcast that we had going on earlier.
Been a long first set, still a second one, but feels like the long first set, maybe 5 to 10 minutes away from an Afreeca Freecs victory, barring the sort of outplay that exactly it has to be disastrous, multiple different ways. 5v5, you prefer Afreeca's comp. KT split pushing through Smeb early after the first blood looked like a possibility, but it's a long forgotten dream at this point. And yeah, Def got the auto.
Follow the auto.
Got him. I mean, it does cancel home guard. It's hilarious.
Well, okay, they got the turret there in the mid lane, but that's about it. 50 seconds on the next Baron, a minute and 15 on a Mountain Drake spawning. They need kind of a steal. It's kind of their hope.
Seeming more and more unlikely as we push forward in this particular series. I think Baron, kind of the icing they're looking for here, the Afreeca Freecs. Control ward on it. They know that KT haven't been in the area recently. KT do previously, though, have the control ward towards the River Brush for top lane. That might actually be helpful. Spirit can zone around, so level up on Score and unkillable at this point in the game.
He doesn't have to worry about a damn thing walking up towards the Kha'Zix.
Ridiculously healthy is Deft.
See how long that lasts. They're just pushing down this river.
I don't know about this one, Achilles.
Can easily cut away over toward the right-hand side here. Dazzle's going to come out. Doesn't find anybody.
KT literally, with that posturing, is saying, we will outplay you, which, with a Vayne, is always a possibility, but it's oh so risky. Death's here and the game's over.
Gets a bit of damage there in onto Tucson. The Vayne damage is starting to shine through. He's got the Guardian Angel.
Protect the Deft was Samsung Blue's major strategy. It has been KT's from time to time. Deft is huge, but you would have to have an insane series of outplays to outplay these fights.
Does this also give them a lot of time for Smeb to continue that push there into the bottom side of the map? Keen was playing forward up into the jungle, trying to, kind of staying by the rest of the Afreeca Freecs.
It's bigger than that, because they're doing it against the super minions bot lane as well, taking turrets so hard to do. Ult misses.
Find anything there. Now Afreeca starting to kite back. Deft goes forward, tries to get a couple hits in, but can't really get the true Silver Bolt procs to come through.
Can there be that moment of magic from Deft? He's feeling it. He is free farm.
Looking for it. Silence comes in. He's down to half HP. The Devour's there from Mata to keep him alive.
Hey, Devour for Cosmic Radiance. You'll take that trade if you're KT.
Very nice one indeed. Now looking for Spirit. Gonna get chunked out. The other guys comes through. He does have the Guardian Angel, which will get popped now as the TP comes through here from Keen. So that's gonna be Mata going down depth, respawning right into the thick of the members of the Afreeca Freecs, and he'll get taken out the bot lane, completely decimated. And now Afreeca just gonna be looking for, another inhibitor here in the mid lane that can rotate down, retake the one in bot as well. Score, he's on the back side, maybe trying to drag the minions, but he can't get there in time, and will be walking into the base of death. Smeb's gonna go in, looks to lock down Kuro. Can they finish him off? Shield comes through. He's not yet dead. He will finally get popped as Pawn finds the kill, but they're trading it for Smeb. They're trading it for Score, who's gonna go down. A double kill for Spear, and maybe this is just the end of the game. Papa Smithy, 32 minutes in, one inhib down, waves coming forward, but seems like Afreeca, they don't want to get ahead of themselves. They know that the respawns are coming through from the bot lane members of KT. They will peel back and maybe set up for that Baron.
With Def with 10 seconds off from respawn, they don't even try to take the second inhibitor because they know that if they overstay for a second inhibitor, Baron is a possibility for the side of KT Rolster. So safety first here is the call with Spirit now. Apparently the shot call from what we've heard. KT, they tried to go for those outplays. You were thinking it was going to be a pop-off, but Malzahar didn't even have to flash to get the ultimate onto Def. A positioning mistake.
Where did Pawn just TP from?
I didn't catch that, but the
I think
super
he just
minion
TP'd
wave
from
there.
the base into right in front of
Interesting.
okay.
Let's just leave that lie as it will.
Yep.
Good news story for KT, taking that particular inhibitor turret. But it's not going to be something they can return to. Feels like the full court press from Afreeca is inevitable. Def trying it again. This time there's no Malzahar to lock him down. No QSS on Def, it's worth remembering.
Yeah, I would say that that's ill-advised.
Especially because he walked up after being devoured, then you devour was on cooldown and died. So, speaking of dying, this Baron is so fast going down.
Yeah, it's just getting melted. Score looking for the opportunity to get in there, but just doesn't really have it. Knows that he'd be going to his death. And the Baron going to go over to Afreeca. 3.5 minutes on the clock. Mid in him already taken out. Bottom one still exposed. KT need absolute miracle.
It's not an impossibility, but it's certainly improbable, Achilleos. Afreeca need to stay rotund. Trying to play the map here is Smeb. Keen doesn't have teleport, so he can be extra annoying here on the Camille and know there's no one to answer him. Oh, the Dragon's going to be a late spawn. It's going to be taken here at 34 minutes, the 4th Drake of the game. That probably will, the game may be over by 40 minutes, so it may not be a massive factor.
Smeb making his way out of there. As we've seen the charge coming through from Afreeca, moving down that bottom lane. They want to get that second inhibitor.
Let's see what the next purchase is for Def. Goes back, can of course sell the Targons. Keeps the Targons, sells Guardian Angel for Bloodthirst. So still no QSS. His read here, once he committed to GA, is he can't afford the DPS drop of going QPS. Didn't have an entire Mercurial. So the most damage he can get on his income was a Bloodthirster for another Overshield for healing in a fight. But they have to account for the Malzahar. They need to find a way to stop him just being killed. He's a short-range DPS against a short-range mage that will delete him.
Really running the risk here is Def. It's a lot of confidence, but you can see not really helping him out in any way, shape, or form as that inhibitor does go down. 2 now taken out. Afreeca can draw that pressure away, but Smeb, yeah, he's going to be going for the play here into the top lane. And he'll be able to chunk that out very swiftly.
Let's see if they can actually pressure these recalls. Baron recalls.
Trying to interrupt him. Doesn't quite get it. Right in that last little bit. Smeb is able to finish off the inhibitor, however.
Kuro's alone.
Yes, he is. Now the TP coming through, but that's just going to get canceled out. And actually, Smeb setting himself up to almost get caught out there. Delaying right outside the base of Afreeca Freecs. In the meantime, KT, they're just going to be losing that that Nexus turret.
Oh no, the cannon minion got confused.
Oh, didn't know what to do anymore.
That cannon minion was paid off. That's what I think there. Quiet, please.
Oh. I have forgotten my function.
How do you get distracted from this like appealing large turret and just go for a random minion? I don't understand.
I don't know. It's like seeing 20 bucks on the street and then going for the penny.
I'm guaranteed the penny. The 20 bucks is 50.
But the penny's good luck! It was face up! Think about what that luck could get me down the line.
Well, all the luck.
I could find $20.
It's good luck for KT, and they need a couple more moments of that. They need to find some 4-leaf clovers, some rabbit's foots, anything appreciated. Hard to understand. Look at the gold that Deft has. He has about, what, 2,050 worth of gold to spend because you can sell the Targons just over 300. Is the shield worth it over a QSS? You'd think not, but also you have to also take into account that right now he can't be shopping, he needs to be in lane, so the next purchase time may never happen. The game could be decided. Bro has flash available, wants to flash ult at any opportunity, but he'll take a free turret first.
This is nothing they can do. Depth is like walking up and just getting 1 or 2 shots off, but he needs the extended fight. He needs to be able to get those true silver bolt procs. And look at the turret just get melted.
He's caught.
Getting corruption coming through. Mana still going to get rooted, but still has the devour to keep Depth alive. And that's going to be all 3 now down. That's going to be the Nethergrass coming through. Depth, all the shielding, trying to keep him alive. Isn't going to be enough to devour.
Dies.
Not going to happen. He's going to die. Keen comes up with a kill, and that is going to be Afreeca doing it. They had a 0% win rate against this team in 2017, but they come out here at the start of the new season and they take down KT Rolster. A lot of people, jokes aside, got very excited for KT. But this is not the start that they wanted. Afreeca, however, looking like potentially a powerhouse that could develop moving forward.
Yeah, Afreeca Freecs and 3 games. We know all about that match made in heaven, but actually winning it over KT for the first time since the inception of the 2017 LCK spring season. Great shot calling. I like the draft as well. Too many mistakes from the likes of Score over the course of this first series, and in general, Afreeca Freecs, they're what they were required to do here today. Face against KT Rolster with the same lineup. When they have the new lineup, they no longer have Marin. There were more questions about Afreeca by far. KT came in big favorites, and Afreeca on the first time of asking have done excellent against KT Rolster. Big victory for them, and maybe they really do have to be respected because Afreeca Freecs are looking and gunning higher than ever before.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, Keen especially, got to give that guy props.
Yep.
Really excellently done here on the day. Some mistakes, obviously, here and there in the Lucian. Maybe not the best thing. It was a bit of, he was able to control the lane for the most part, but couldn't really influence the team fights. But aside from that, he was playing very well in the 1v1s and at times going toe-to-toe with Smeb.
At the end of the day, if you say, hey, pick a carry matchup against Smeb and don't get outclassed, that's a pass mark for most people in the world. He did better than not get outclassed. He was competitive to the last, which is very good. A very good sign for Keen, who was one of those players where if you're watching Everett, you're like, this guy has something about him. What will he look like on a better team? He's on a better team now. He still looks good. And KT Rolster, even with the off-season interviews saying that they'd leveled up their shot calling, even with the confidence of winning the Casper Cup. Casper Cup means for nothing in the 2018 season. It means for nothing in this first best of 3 of the season for KT Rolster. And they have it all to do still, despite all their proud words.
Rough times here for KT. Back to the drawing board. Have to get ready for their next series. At least might be one that they can feel good about with MVP taking to the Rift against them on Saturday. Maybe we'll get to see Rush make his debut here. We'll have to see how that develops as time goes on. But, that would be the most damning thing for them, would be KT struggling to beat MVP.
Fair point. We'll wait and hold our judgment for that match. Let's compliment also Spirit, who was on your screen before. If he has truly taken on shot calling, going for the Shyvana here, having his lanes hold back, saying, don't worry, guys, we can work around the Shyvana. The Shyvana worked a treat in the mid to late game. Good job for him. First Shyvana of the season here, and we will see more of it, no doubt, going forward. So, good news stories for the Afreeca Freecs. No one really to single out. I think everyone played their part on that side.
Yeah.
Whereas with KT, definitely most people waggle their finger at Score. Both Score and Peanut. That was the question, right? Who's the best jungler? Was it Score and Peanut for a long time? At the moment, you would say neither. Score did struggle pretty significantly on this day, but one set in to their season. Afreeca Freecs finally take the 2-1s. Last season, if they won more of those 3-game series, they would have finished higher. They would have skipped some best of 3s and best of 5s and potentially had a better finish. Looking at the damage dealt, predictably, a lot for the Varus. The Vayne did 20,000 damage, but when it came to those late fights, it felt like the Vayne was a non-factor.
I mean, everybody was also just so tanky that having that much damage doesn't mean much because you're barely going through their HP bars. So there's a lot of chipping away. They're done by depth, but we didn't have that explosive performance from the Vayne that we would have liked to have seen, just dodging around the skill shots. Instead, it was just kind of move forward, get caught by another grasp, and die. That's the way that it went, but Spirit will be walking away with the MVP here, as the MVP rather, from game number 3. 92% kill participation, 7-0 and 5 deathless performance with a Shyvana.
And you can't really look any better than that on a Shyvana jungle performance, because what does that number say, the 92% kill participation? The laners said, okay, let's hang back, let's give up CS. Everyone was down 15 to 20, you'll remember, top, mid, and bot lane, and then put faith in the Shyvana. And the moment Shyvana got involved, everything worked golden. Just like that stopwatch for the side of Afreeca Freecs. Everything worked out for them. So they picked their time, they bided their time, and then from there, they won every fight.
Yeah. Beautifully done by him. Ripping people apart left and right. So really well done. This is the one where Smeb just kind of traded places there, missed that last auto attack on Kuro. Would it have changed the pace of the game? Absolutely not, but still a feel-bad moment indeed for KT overall, but Spirit absolutely on point, walking away with multiple kills from a lot of these fights, coming up with doubles, etc. Able to get from there on the Baron with the smite, making sure that does not get stolen away.
And Shyvana doesn't fit every comp, but triple lockdown, Malzahar, Varus, and Taric, even the unkillableness of that cosmic radiance, yes, unkillableness is a new word, allowed him just to be a pure damage jungle. All Shyvana provides is damage and 1 CC with the ultimate, and the damage worked out.
Yeah. See, I mean, Def just getting a little bit too excited, manages to get the True Silver proc off one time, and it's like, I can kill this person, and then just, well, no, there's a Malzahar.
You've got to wonder about the lack of QSS, because it didn't matter how many extra shields he had if he could never do damage.
I mean, you saw how many shields he got at the end.
Yeah,
right
look
here.
we're watching
this
right now.
It's ridiculous.
He has insane shielding, but...
And then he dies in the middle of the Devour cast going through there as he finishes them off.
If you can't reposition his Vayne, you don't do damage, and that's just a reality that he faced here. So Afreeca Freecs, they will be our first MVP interview. Credit to them. Upset over KT Rolster.
Yep, very nicely done. And I mean, the guy who's been quietly sitting back in the booth waiting for this moment, it has finally arrived, so we're going to get ready to throw over to the interview. Joel Discord, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel once again, back for another season as I bring you guys an interview with the translations once again. We begin the LCK 2018 spring with Afreeca Freecs, beating out KT Rolster in a 2-1 fashion, and we're going to be here with the MVPs of the series, Spirit and Kuro, for an interview.
기록을 보니까 2017년 서머 정규 시즌 MVP 1위예요.
And Kuro, I mean, by the time you ended 2017 summer, you were first place in the MVP received. And right now, you're back up with us doing another interview. How do you feel?
자주 만나서 되게 기쁘네요.
It's great that I'm seeing you guys so often. It must mean something. And I'm sure it was a game against KT that you guys had a hard time defeating in the past. How do you feel about the win?
한 새벽 5시 정도까지 일단 얘기를 열띤 토론을
I think our team was just discussing over this upcoming series until 5 a.m. Just talking within the team and knew that we were going to get the win after getting the first one, but and the second game was quite a disappointment for us because I think we did let our guard down and wasn't the attitude that we were supposed to be having. But I think in the end, getting the win is all that matters, and I feel great about that. And it was interesting that you picked out Azir. It felt like was one of the champions that you didn't like to play.
문제는 별로 없었다.
I always felt like my Azir never had a problem. I'm sure you've seen my Azirs perform poorly, but it wasn't my fault. That's all I have to say. Spirit, you want to add on to what Kuro's been saying?
아직 문제 없다고 하는데
He says there's no problem with his Azir, but you know, when you practice with him, you kind of know. You kind of know about his Azir, and there's not much further comment I need to make about that. But you know, he did it well in the game one, so I'll give him that for sure. And of course, the absolutely great initiate that came with the Azir in game one was probably the game changer for that specific game. I would have to say this was it right here with the Azir. My teammates just gave the call that all the flashes were gone at that moment, so you know I went in pretty aggressively, trusting my teammates they would follow up, and I think of course my teammates did a good part of giving me the first opportunity to do it, but I think I followed up very well on that one.
약간 아프리카 프릭스의 실세가 되셨다는 얘기가.
And it felt like we've been hearing rumors of you've been getting the main command and the main shot calling of this team, Spirit. Yeah, of course. Somehow I'm in this position where I can make the shot calling.
특별한 거 없고요.
I mean, there's not really a big change with Spirit on the shot calling role. I don't feel any changes coming to our team, so I don't think it's a big factor of our team by any means.
그래서 그런지 1세트 얘기를 좀 이어가자면 이제 자크를 플레이했는데.
And moving, still talking about game one, playing Zach, you had some disappointing moments throughout the game. And it just felt like when you were cut off, and it felt like it would lead to a losing fight for your team. It just felt like your team ended up winning in the end because of your loss. Yeah, I think it was the sort of a foreshadowing that I did, by seemingly it seemed like I was throwing by going in so aggressively on the Zac, but when your teammates clean up so well after that, it just draws all the attention away from you. I think it does give the credits to me for making that play in the first place.
일단 주도권은 아지르한테 있는 것 같아요.
Yeah, I think in the current matchup with Azir and Vega, I would have to say Azir has a little bit of an edge just from the laning standpoint, and I think just that builds up to the very much the late game where it does have the better advantage overall. And of course, game 3, what we want to talk about later was the Shyvana coming from you, Spirit. And it just felt like something that might not have been a choice of champion that we thought we didn't expect you to pick on that one. Yeah, it's not my favorite champion by any means to play on the jungle, but I think a win's the most important thing, and just getting the win was the what it took for me to pick that champion, even if I didn't like it that much. And it seemed like Keen at the top lane was having a hard time in the top lane when you were playing the Shyvana. I think, him being still kind of a rookie and being a kind of a newcomer into this LCK and not getting nervous and holding on to his place, even though bad things does happen to him. I'm very proud of him for that. And of course, with Keen adjusting to your new team, how do you feel about helping him out on that one? Yeah, we just kind of try to joke around with him a lot and just tease him a lot just to make sure that he feels more friendly with us and just gets more comfortable with us in general. And it felt like the roster of Afreeca Freecs, starting with this 2018 spring, has gotten a lot stronger. Yeah, I think our team morale feels great right now because we're just loud and rowdy, and we're just having a good time, and whenever we do meet the fans, they can definitely tell the smiles on our faces.
장점도 있죠. 장점을 얘기해 주셔야 돼. 장점은 이제 팀 내부가 시끌벅적하고.
And of course, like I said, the positives are that we have a good vibe going with our team.
꿀픽을 찾을 수 있다.
And I think it's our communication becomes greater, that we're able to find these hidden strategies within ourselves, and that really does help our team grow as a unit. And I know that, Spirit, you're good friends with some of the members from KT Rolster, but you knew that Deft picked out Dane. Did you, or are you not surprised by that pick? I think, Deft, he knew he was getting into trouble when he picked that pick, and I was just kind of smiling in the back and knowing what's going to happen in the future for him. And of course, coming back from a 1-1 deficit, coming back to win and 2-1, getting the win was significant for you guys, but it's just the beginning for you guys. And I'm sure a lot of the plays that you would have done better if you had the chance to go back. How do you feel about the future going into this? Yeah, I think I didn't have many chances to prove myself in the past season, so I really worked really hard to make sure I do that this time. But I think, it's important to get that first win out of the way, and just it's really good to get in on our first game. We try to do better for the rest of the season. Anything you would like to say to all the fans that are joining here today? And we have to say that we're not the best team in LCK, and no one can really deny that. But I'm really thankful for the fact, even though the fans are still cheering for us, even if we're not the best team. And just going back to 2017 spring, we kind of said this last time too, but we'll just try our best and to become the better team that we want to be.
다시 한번 두 선수에게 큰 박수 부탁드리겠습니다. 네, 오늘 첫 경기는
And that seems to be the end of the first interview of OGN's LCK. Gonna bring it back to you guys.
축하드리면서
Thank you very much, Joel. So a bit humble there at the end. So you know what? We are not the best, but we want to be better. That's what they're aiming for.
And I think my takeaway of a comment like that is they want to be the team you talk about as one of the big ones. They want to be an SKT, a KT, a contender. And honestly, beating KT today and keeping up consistency, which was the dirty word for the Afreeca Freecs, keeping up any sort of consistency will be so big for this squad because they're on the precipice of something great. I love the roster that they put together. This is the sort of team where if they can parlay what is some obviously good feels among the members and good picks and play, the sky is definitely the limit.
Yeah, but guys, we're not done yet. We still have a whole other best of 3 to go through here with SK Telecom T1 versus the Rocks Tigers coming up. We're at 9:06 p.m. We're going to have to let these guys get set up for a little while. Them in the booth. Make sure that there's no microphone issues with the
hopefully
headsets. So we can get that one underway and see how SKT, what form they are going to look in as we get ready to dive into that one. Rocks Tigers as well. We're going to have to see how these guys have adapted. They have Kuzan starting on the roster in the mid lane. Also have Effort in the bottom lane. See
You're saying too many things, Achilles. We're going to have a short break because they want to get going.
All right, well, we'll see how long it's going to be. Look for that timer up on your screen. We'll be back in that amount of time. We'll see you guys here for SKT versus Rocks. Don't go anywhere.